Welcome back to the channel, guys, and in this video we're gonna go ahead and talk about my favorite character in the first Descendant, Blair. So Blair got some buffs and not really reworks, but something kind of like that, right? So we're gonna talk about his changes and his buffs. Especially with the changes, we might be able to push out some really good damage with that. But that's for future. So with this video, we're just gonna go ahead and talk about Backdraft Blair, the massive buffs which affected Backdraft Blair. I think uh, I think you guys should really holla at him when it comes to using weapon DPS. So, anyways, without wasting time, let's just hop straight into this. Alright, so, couple things before we get started into this. First, look at my Blair. My guy is looking a little clean today. I had to cop the skin because, yeah, I mean. But anyways, so this is how we're going to go ahead and do this. So first, I'm going to run down the changes. And forewarning, I'm gonna be showing some pictures on screen showing what his abilities were before, and you're gonna be able to see, the screen, uh, what they are now. The picture quality's kind of ass, so you're gonna have to forgive me on that one, all right? But I'm gonna go ahead and say all of the changes as we go through it, and so you guys can see Blair's buffs and quote unquote rework in a sense. So, anyways, you know, we just checked out the drip test, and he passes that. My boy looks like a whole player. He's big pimping right now. So, let's go ahead and just look at the new Blair. So we're gonna start out with his first ability, which is called Blaze Up. We all know what Blaze Up does. He drops a pull on the floor, and it does fire, or it leaves a fire on the floor. So the what has been changed um, about whatever is, first off, the MP cost went from 25 MP to now 19. The continuous damage, so the damage while they're in the the area of effect, it was 31.6%. Now it's 36.4, so a slight increase. The base duration went from 12 seconds to 15 seconds, and the range stayed the same. Now, one of the biggest changes for Blair is the burn. Now, the burn is going to be the same across all the abilities, so I'm only going to say this once. The continuous damage from the burn effect, which if they step into the fire zone and then they run out, they're still going to be caught on fire, and that's what the burn is. So that burn went from doing 8.2% of skill power to 40.5. That is a humongous jump. Now, obviously, if you see right now, the burn does more damage than the flame pool does. That's kind of weird. But anyways, so no, that was a massive jump. The other two things stay the same. Damage intervals at 1 second, duration 5 seconds, space stayed the same. But that's some crazy changes for his first ability. Now his second ability, which this one has like a rework to it. So I'll demonstrate the changes. But so previously it was cooldown stayed the same, but previously there was no stacks when it comes to his second ability. It was just you activate the ability and that's it. And what that did was, before, it gave you 19 MP per flame zone that you absorbed or called back, and then it gave you a skill power modifier increase of 23%. And the duration was, base 10 seconds. So that didn't change. But now, so what we have now is, now his second ability has stacks. So each flame pool up to 5 stacks now. And so now the changes for the MP is MP recovery amount per flame zone is a percentage of your maximum HP. So the higher your maximum HP is, the more you'll get back. So you'll get 8% per stack up to 5 stacks. So what is that? 40% max? something like that. So, anyways, now your skill power modifier increase. It was a base 23%, and that's it. Doesn't matter how many flame pools you absorb. Now your flame pool's absorption does matter. So now we actually have stacks for it, and we can get 5 stacks, and each stack is 6%. So that's 30% instead of our 23%. So we pretty much got a 7% skill power modifier bonus, which is cool because it's a skill power modifier, which it's not that great, 30%. It's not really going to make too much of a difference on your first ability because the modifier is already pretty low. But this is why I said Truly Deadly Cuisine might be really good. Because if it is the way that I'm thinking it is, which I'm gonna have to test it, so don't hold me to what I'm about to tell you right now. If they're saying it's 30% of the skill power modifier, my assumption is it's gonna be 30% of what that modifier number is. And with Truly Deadly Cuisine, since it's in the thousands, 30% of that will be a bigger number. That's unless they're doing it as an additive where it only adds 30% on top. You get what I'm saying? So I'll test it out further for Truly Deadly Cuisine. Wait for that video to come out, and I'll have some solid testing to be able to tell you for sure. But right now, just don't hold me to that. So, anyways, that was the changes for his second ability. It was a massive change, and it really, really, really impacts Backdraft Blair in a positive way. We'll get to that. So, his third ability, which is his flamethrower, we all know what that does. So, previously, what the flamethrower did was first off, nothing's changed with the cooldown and MP, it's the exact same. But our continuous damage was 132.6%. Now it's 152.5%. So a little damage increase. Interval stayed the same. Duration stayed the same. Range stayed the same. And then we got our, like I said, continuous damage for the burn. So they gave the flamethrower a little bit of a damage increase. So that's cool, I guess. All right. Now, Deadly Cuisine, exact same. Nothing's changed there. Now our passive is what changed. It changed as well. So your passive, you still get the default base of 10% critical hit damage. That didn't change. But what did change was now our max stacks go from 3, which it used to be 3. So let me tell you, you'll see on the screen as well, but I'm going to tell you anyways. Critical hit rate increase per flame zone used to be for one flame zone, 5%. The second flame zone goes up to 9%, and the third flame zone or more goes up to 14%. So you only got a max of 14% critical hit rate increase for skills. But with this new change, now we get 5 stacks, and each stack gives you 5%. So we can get up to 25% skill critical hit rate now instead of a max of 14. So that really did bolster our crit aspect of Blair. So that's the changes to Blair, his base stats and all that goodness. But let's go ahead and get to the bread and butter of this video. So Backdraft is a Descendant mod. And what does this mod do? Well, this mod changes your passive and your second ability to where it no longer boosts your skill power and your skill crit and stuff, but it boosts your weapon power and crit and stuff. So let's go ahead and see, and I'm going to tell you what the changes were. So for your second ability, where you consume the fireballs or the flame, or yeah, something like whatever. You get what I'm saying. You summon your stuff back. Well, so what it does now is, first off, let me tell you what it used to be. So you used to get weak point damage up to 24% and firearm attack 18%. That's what it used to be. But because of the changes and reworks with him, we now get to get stacks again. So now this is heavily dependent on how many flame pools you have out. So up to 5 stacks once again. But you get MP recovery is the same, 8% of max MP now, but your weak point damage increase per flame zone is 6%, putting us at 30% instead of the used to be 24%. So our firearm attack increase amount has been adjusted. So we get 5%. Now, I know on the screen it doesn't tell you, like it says weak point damage increase per flame zone says 6%, but then it says firearm attack increase amount says 5%. But it does give it. It is stackable, and I will prove that to you. I will show you when we go to the demonstration portion. It just doesn't say per flame zone, but it does increase per flame zone. So you get up to 25% firearm attack increase. So that's a increase, or that's a buff, because previously it was a flat 18%. So bam, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty nice, pretty freaking nice. Now, the other change was which it's really nice. So previously, if you used Backdraft Blair, you still get the same critical hit damage increase flat rate of 10% regardless, but now um our critical hit chance is based off of the amount of flame zones that are out on the field, and it stacks up to 5, and you get 5 percent critical hit rate per stat, up to 25%, when previously the max you can get was 14. So we got a massive buff with Backdraft Blair. So if you add all of this together, we have 30% weak point damage, 25% firearm attack, 10% critical hit damage, and 25% critical hit chance. That's a lot of buffs. A lot of buffs. Now, so previously, it was kind of a hassle to obviously use the unique ability, or not unique ability, my apologies, to use the passive, because once you throw a flame pool out and you absorb it, it extinguishes the fire pool. So it's no longer on the floor. But they changed that, which is amazing. So once you put a flame pool down and you use your second ability to absorb it, what's going to happen is you're going to get the buff like normal. It's going to come up and fly to you, but the fire still stays on the ground. So now being able to use the passive is a lot easier to maintain. So we're not spending most of our time running around spamming fireballs on the ground, where being able to still spam fire on the ground, but once you absorb it, the fire is still going to stay there, still lighting or igniting whatever enemies is in there, so they'll still stay on fire, and we get our Pitmaster passive ability. So those changes are absolutely huge, and I want to go ahead and show you some of the damage numbers now. So I was going to use shot focus, but I decided we won't use it, just so that way I can show you Backdraft by itself without adding shot focus on there. I am gonna add shot focus just to like see some juicy numbers towards the later portion of the video, but I won't do it for now, just so you can see Backdraft by itself. Now, real quick, I did tell you I was gonna show you the damage increase. I was going to show you the damage increase, even though the description doesn't say per stack, but I want to show you that it is per stack. So let's go ahead and look at the Wave of Light, and we see it's 36,000 damage for firearm attack. 25% of that should be 9,000. So 9,000 damage should be added on top of the Wave of Light. Regardless if this right here says 40,000. The reason it says 40,000 is because we have firearm attack rolled on here, but it doesn't add based off of that. It adds based off the weapon's base damage. So we should see from 40,000 to 49,000 if it is 25%, like I'm saying it is. So once we collect all 5 of these bad boys now, and we got our 5 stacks. Now let's go see if I'm correct. So if you look here, now we are at 49,000, just like I said. So it is 25% increase. Now let's look at some of this damage. So we're going to use our standard build. Ah, my goodness. All right, so as you see right here, we're going to run our build. I showcased this on a couple different builds or whatever. Well, 2 different builds. With the Eternal Willpower in my latest Eternal Willpower build. So if you want to see all of that, you know, there it is. So let's see what the weapon is hitting real quick on a weak point crit without Blair's buff. 228,000. Not bad. 228,000. Pretty good, pretty good. Now let's go ahead and max buff out and see what it's hitting for now. $338,000. So it gave us a nice little extra 100,000 damage. Not bad. Not bad. So, let's go ahead and switch to the trash cans so we can see some really big numbers. And when I say trash cans, I mean Order of Truth. So let's refresh our buff. And let's go ahead and see what we're hitting for now. $787,000. 787,000 damage. Kind of crazy. So just because I want to show you guys some bigger numbers on the Eternal Willpower, being that it is my favorite weapon in the game. It's not the best weapon in the game, but it's my favorite. We're going to put on Shot Focus, do all the buffs, and see how much higher damage we can get. Or how much more damage we can get, whatever. So let's go ahead and see. So we got our Shot Focus on. We got our standard little build. Obviously, you can optimize this build slightly. A little bit more to squeeze out a little bit more damage. But I like it the way that it is. So let's go ahead and see. 838,000 damage. Like, that's nuts. 838,000 damage. That is that is insane. That is insane. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you guys the little changes that Blair has gotten since the update. It definitely pushed him up just a little bit. Now, Blair by no means necessary as a character. I don't believe he's not the best. He's in like a niche spot to where you know, you can use him, but there's better options. He's still my favorite, and Backdraft Blair is my favorite build. Truly Deadly Cuisine is also pretty nice, but I mean, it's, to be honest, it doesn't hold a candle to Lepic with his fourth ability and the new chick. I forgot her name. The new ice sniper. Those two characters are just cracked. So Blair's not cracked in the slightest. To be honest, he's like mid tier personally. Like I said, there's better options, but he's still my favorite character. I just really love the fire aspect of him, being able to have a flamethrower and a big explosive fireball. It's fun. The idea is amazing, and I will say Backdraft Blair is also really freaking nice. Especially if you pair it with some already strong weapons, you can turn those already strong weapons to absolute beast of a weapon, and I mean, you kind of just melt everything outside of like later and colossi, whatever. So if Blair was someone that you're interested in or somebody that you are thinking about getting, I would definitely recommend 100% that the two Transcendent mods that you get should be Backdraft and Truly Deadly Cuisine. Backdraft will get you through practically all the content in the game. Certain content is a lot more efficient with certain characters, just the way it is, but it's still nice to be able to make every weapon in the game, whether it's garbage, make it half decent, whether it's good, make it really good, and if it's top tier, make it God tier. So that's why Blair is my favorite. I really love using weapons in the game. Um, Unfortunately, weapons aren't the meta. I mean, using character abilities is what's meta. But yeah, so that's the buff and changes for Blair. If you guys liked the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, that's it for me. I'll see you next time.